Hello and welcome to another video, and today I am going to be going over my top 10 favourite Otome games are, and Otome as well if you didn't know. If you don't know what an Otome game is, it's basically a female-oriented visual novel. So yeah, and I'm going to be going over my top 10 today. Before we get into this list, there is a couple of things. The first being, I will not be including any mobile games on this list, such as Mystic Messenger, Mr. Love Queen's Choice, things like that. I will also not be including any FanDisc sequels on this list, so these will not be appearing. Neither will any others. And one last thing is, I've only actually played 10 Otome games, so they're the only 10 that are obviously going to be on this list, but all of them, or at least 9 of them, are actually deserving of being on this list, so that's fine. Anyway, let's get on with this. Let's get on with this. And first up at number 10, we have Bad Apple Wars, and the only reason this game's on here is because I haven't played any others, because as soon as I play another game this will no longer be on this list, because it's definitely not my favourite. It's definitely not the best game I played. Bad Apple Wars, the story behind Bad Apple Wars is that you are sent to Purgatory basically, which is this school. Everyone in the school is dead and stuck there. And there's these forbidden rules that are not allowed to be broken, and then there's these two factions, the good apples and the bad apples, and the bad apples are trying to break these rules in order to get this apple that is rumoured to be able to bring them back to life, and to give them back the life they had before, because if they become a good apple and obey the rules, they will end up becoming reincarnated into completely different lives. So they are trying to get the apple so they can go back to their original lives, and it just wasn't the best storyline. It was okay at first for the first couple of routes, but the routes in this game are so samey. The same thing happens in all of them, that after the first couple of routes I was just sick of it. Yeah, and the characters also weren't my favourite characters in an Otome game. Alma and this guy, I've forgotten his name, were probably the best two routes, but that's probably just because they're the first two I did. But yeah, Bad Apple Wars is basically only on this list because I have no other option. But there's plenty more games that I do want to play, such as Ars Mafia, Nightshade, Steam Prison. I guarantee you as soon as I play one of those it's going to get off this list. Anyway, moving on to Otome games that I actually did enjoy more. But Apple Wars isn't bad, it's just not my favourite. Also, another thing, there's no options in this game. There's usually in Otome games you make choices. You don't in this one. You get to click on pictures in certain places instead, which you basically know where to click. It basically tells you. Okay, number 9 on this list I have Period Cube, Shackles of Amadeus, and this is a good game. The art style in this is one of the best I've seen. The sprites actually move about, they blink and their mouths move when they talk. I haven't seen that in any other game that I played, other than this one. And Bad Apple Wars is about a game, I've forgotten the name of the game, but it's like an MMORPG that her brother enjoyed playing, and one day her brother goes missing and she thinks it's connected to the game. So she goes inside of the game in order to find hints about her brother along with her childhood friend, this guy here, Hyoya, and they get inside of the game and they get trapped there and they can no longer leave unless they complete quests. Once they complete quests, and the harder the quest, the longer they get to spend in the real world. So they complete a medium level quest, they can spend an hour in the real world, and a hard level quest they get to spend a couple of days in the real world before getting sent back into the game. And in this game there's a big dungeon in the middle, and which is rumoured to have like the period cube right at the top of it, and they say in order to get out of this game you have to conquer this dungeon and reach the period cube. So that's what they're trying to do. The routes in this game are quite different. They all have the same conclusion, right? They all conclude with reaching the period cube, but the different things happen along the way. And my favourite two routes in this game were Hioya, this one, and Radius, this one here. And my least favourite was, yeah, there's a secret route in this game, and it was weird. As the relationship in the secret route was just weird. So that was my least favourite. I also did not like Astrum. He was annoying. So anyway, moving on to number... Wait, I haven't showed this picture yet. Moving on to number... what's it called? These are Hioya and Radius, by the way. Moving on to number 8. I have Amnesia, or Amnesia Memories, which is the remake of Amnesia for the Vita. And Amnesia is about this unnamed protagonist. Usually the girls in these games all have default names that you can go to, which the characters will then say, change the name, and they won't. But the girl in this one, she doesn't have a default name, and she also does not have any dialogue, unlike other games. Like, everything is spoken through Orion. All her thoughts and stuff are like spoken through Orion in this game. Alright, Amnesia is a good game. It's about the story of Amnesia. Is about, there's this girl and she wakes up one day with amnesia in this world, and she doesn't like have any memories or know what happened or why she's there. And like there's different worlds that she keeps travelling between, and in different worlds, each one of these 4 guys plus one more, he's not in this picture, say that they're her boyfriend and that she's going out with them, and so she has to like go along trying to get her memories back to see if that's true. So she's travelling from world to world to world to world to world, trying to figure out which one is like the real world and which one she actually came from. And yeah, it is a good game. And also the art style in Amnesia is also quite good. I really enjoyed Amnesia. It's one of the first ones I played, like I think the 3rd game I actually played, but the reason it's so low down on the list at number 8 is because I just played so many better ones since. But I still really love Amnesia. It's still a very great game, and I do really recommend it. That was number 8. Moving on to number 7, we have London Detective Mysterica. Oh, I actually haven't completed this game yet, but I am far enough into it to know where I want it on this list, and to know like how much I like it and stuff. But anyway, this is a game where you play as a girl called Emery Whiteley, and she is like this takes place in Victorian London, and like she's in the upper class. She has like this man and this butler, but when she was little she used to live in the country, but then her parents got murdered and she came to London to try and like solve that. And anyway, the game starts where you're trying to find the Queen's cat who has gone missing, and then she gives you this letter of recognition so you can join this detective school, and you meet all these other detectives to try and solve mysteries and stuff. And yeah, it's good. As I said, I'm still playing this game. I am yet to finish it, so I cannot tell you who my favourite route is just yet. But if I had to guess, I would probably say Holmes. Anyway, this is a good game. Again, the art style is good. Art style and Otome games do tend to be good. It was kind of different in Bad Apple Wars. Not my favourite style. Again, another reason it's at number 10. Anyway, it's alright, you solve different cases and stuff along with the detectives, who are all like historical and fictional people. Like, this is the son of Sherlock Holmes, this is the son of John Watson, there's also the son of Lupin, there's also Jack the Ripper, and some guy called Akechi, who I'm not familiar with, who are the routes you can go down. yeah, I can't be really enjoying this game. Anyway, moving on to number 6, which is a game I have actually not that long finished, which is 7 Scarlet, and this was very good. Like, the art style in this is kind of simple, but I still really enjoyed this game. It's very supernatural and mysterious. You play this girl called Ichiko. I can remember the names of the characters because I just finished it not that long ago. And she, like, her brother went missing in this town a year ago, so she and her childhood friend, Hino, a bit similar to Period Cube out there, end up going to this town to try and find her missing brother and try and find clues into what's going on, but there's like loads of mysteries and supernatural stuff going on in this town that they're quite unaware of, but they kind of get caught up in the middle of it. Yeah, so there's like lots of mysterious stuff going on in the town, and it's very good. My favourite routes in this game were Sosuke and Hino. They were the best two. Also, I did enjoy the rest of the routes too. The only guy I really didn't enjoy the route of is what's his name? This guy, Hiyoi. I forgot his name, but it's this guy here. He's kind of a bit of a yandere. He says some weird shit, like how he wants to break her arms so she can't feed herself and stuff. Anyway, yeah, I did enjoy 7 Scarlet. And the art style is not my favourite art style, but it fits with the game, so yeah. I enjoyed this one. Was this number 6? I think this was number 6. Moving on to number 5, we have Psychedelica of the Black Butterfly, which is like the first Psychedelica game, and this is very good. The story in this game is one of the best I've seen in an Otome game. Although this game doesn't so much have routes, has endings, because the canon route in this game is actually the common route. You have the most 90% of this game is the common route. There's just endings for the different guys rather than like full-on routes. I'd say that this guy here probably has the longest route of like one chapter entering a normal game, I'll probably say. Anyway, Psychedelica of the Black Butterfly storyline is that one day the main character wakes up in this mysterious mansion and there's like monsters running around, and she has no memories of anything. She doesn't even remember her name, and then as she goes around she meets these 5 guys who are also in the same situation as her, and they decide to group together to try and find out what the hell is going on, so they go into this like only safe place that they can find. And in there is like doors with names on it, so they decide to give themselves the names that are on the doors, but there is a lot of stuff, mysterious stuff going on, and some people know stuff that they are not like telling. And it's a very good game, and I really enjoyed the story to this game, and also the art style is cool too. Right, that's also enjoyed the art style. And there's also this little girl in a rabbit mask who keeps coming and telling you some stuff as well. And yeah, this is a good game and I would recommend it. If you're going to play the Psychedelica games, play Black Butterfly first. It does come first. And you won't get some of the references in the second game if you play that one first. That second game being next on the list, which is Psychedelica of the Ashen Hawk, which is the next Psychedelica game. Similar thing to the Black Butterfly one, whereas there's just one common route and these branching endings rather than full-on routes. This is also a very good game. Jed is one of the best protagonists I have come across in an Otome game. I say Psychedelica the Black Butterfly had a very good story. I think the story in Black Butterfly was slightly better than the story in Ashen Hawk, but I think the characters in Ashen Hawk were better than the ones in Black Butterfly. I forgot to tell you my favourite route from Black Butterfly, didn't I? this guy here in the middle, Yamato, his route was my favourite in Black Butterfly. I played Ash and Hawk at the start of this year, and it was just very good. The characters were slightly better in this one than Black Butterfly, so that kind of pits it, because both the stories were very good. But this one I think had slightly better characters. And obviously Jed is a very good main character. And my favourite route in this game was Rugus, who is the guy here. Anyway, the storyline of Psychedelica of the Ash and Hawk is you play as this girl, Jed, who has like a witch's eye, which like tells everyone that she is a witch, which she has to keep secret, or else she will be executed. So her stepmother, who is leader of the wolves, there's like two warring factions, there's the Hawks and the wolves, and the leader of the wolves takes her in and raises her as a boy, so because boys with witches' eyes are not as dangerous as girls with witches' eyes, so she needs to keep her gender and her eye a secret as she goes through this world that is like the wolves are fighting against the Hawks because they both have different views on how they should run the town. And then stuff is going normally, she's just living her everyday life, and then something tragic happens in her life, and then all these stuff starts happening and the truth starts unraveling about what that situation they're actually in, and it is very good and very interesting. And moving on to number 3, I think this is number 3 if I recall. We have Cora X Maris. This is a very good game. Very good. You play as a police officer called Ichiko, I think her name is. Ichijo, something like that if I remember correctly. And there's been this string of murders in Japan, and because of that this certain city has been closed off and the no guns law has been abolished, so everybody's allowed to carry weapons with them to protect themselves against this criminal organisation that's doing these crimes, or this one person. Nobody knows who is killing everyone. That's what the game's about. You have to like investigate the different crimes and who did the different crimes, along with the help of some ex-police officers and also current police officers who are working at this detective agency to try and solve these murders, and they all have their own reasons for trying to do this, and it's very good. All the like the cases are interesting, all the outcomes and like the answers to who did it, they're all interesting. Can get a bit complicated and is remembering who did what for who and stuff like that, but it is a very good game and I recommend you play it. And also it is getting a anime adaptation soon, so I'm looking forward to. Again, the art style was nice. My favourite routes were Yanagi, and Takeru here was a close second. Yeah, very rough guy, X Malice. And I don't really have much more to say because this is just a really good game, and it's more like it's quite story driven rather than just going after the guys, and it's very good. I hope they do the anime does the game justice, because there's so much to this game that there's a lot that they will have to cram in and just following one route. Very good. Number 2, we have Norn 9 Rare Commons, which is the PS Vita remake of the PSP game. Norn 9 is a game where you play as 3 different protagonists. There's 3 different girls that you play as. Each girl has 3 routes each. You can either do one girl, then move on to the next, then move on to the next, or switch between the, like, do one girl, then another, and then another, then back to the first, however you want. Anyway, you play as Kohaku, and Nanami, and Makoto, and the 3 girls, and you play as them, and the route is that the story is that you are an Esper on this ship there's this ship called the Norn, and you are in like the time period is like the past in Japan, and then there's supposed to be 9 espers, and they all come to the ship, and they're supposed to travel somewhere. And once they get there, they need to do something, but nobody knows anything apart from one esper who refuses to share everything. But there's only supposed to be 9 espers, and there's 11 people on the ship. And then, so the person comes along and says there is actually 10 espers this time. There was something that happened that caused it to be 10 espers rather than 9 espers for this time around, but one person here is not an esper. One person here is like a spy, and they're trying to figure out which one is the spy, along with this going on the adventures on the ship to try and reach the right destinations of where they're going. And this game has a very good twist to it, to do with like things, because you start out, the game starts, you're a little boy in modern Japan, then something happens and you wake up in the past and you join this ship where you meet the girls and the espers, like all the espers and all the girls and stuff, and he's trying to figure out how to get back to his time period, and by going along with the espers, his story's kind of put on the back burner. You don't find out anything about him until you do the very last secret route at the end, which is kind of like his little route where you play as him. But there is like a nice twist in this to do with the time periods and stuff, and it's very good. I very enjoyed Norn 9. The routes can be quite samey, but unlike with Bad Apple Wars, each route is still interesting and has some differences to it, even though like quite a lot of the main points are the same. My favourite routes in this game, by the way, if I go back to that first picture, are Kakeru, Akito, and Nasahiko are my 3 favourite routes. And this guy here was, I can't remember his name, but his was my 4th favourite. And my 2 least favourites were Masamune and Ron. Yeah, again, the art style was good too. Anyway, going on to number 1 on my list, the final entry and my favourite Otome game is Code Realize Guardian of Rebirth. I love this game. It's the first Otome game that I ever played. And in this game, it takes place in Victorian London, and all the characters are like characters from fiction. We have Arsène Lupin, we have Victor Frankenstein, we have Abraham Van Helsing, we have Impy Barbicane, and we have Saint Germain. There's also Sherlock Sholmes and Watson and them lot in the game as well. Queen Victoria, Captain Nemo. I can't remember who the other guy was, but there was somebody else as well. Like James Moriarty, they're all in here. They're all like characters from like English and French literature. Anyway, you play as Cardia, and she wakes up in this mansion all alone, and she doesn't have a lot of memories, but she has some, and her father put her there and told her to stay there until he returns, but it has been years and her father has yet to return, so she decides to escape the mansion, where everybody treats her as a monster because she has this ability that whatever Cardia touches melts away into nothing, so she has to wear special clothes that are Cardia resistant and use special tableware that's like Cardia resistant. And she also has this gem in her chest called the Horologium, which she doesn't know what it's for, but she leaves the mansion and to look for her father, who never came back, and she runs into Lupin and Impy on their way to London, and she decides to accompany them to look for her father because they inform her that her father, Isaac Beckford, built Steam London, so she thinks there will be crews there, so she goes along with them to help them out with what they're planning, to also try to find out clues for herself about her past and her father and everything, and it's just very good. My favourite route was Lupin. Second favourite was Van, No, second favourite was Victor. Third favourite was Van. Then fourth was Impy, and I did not like Saint Germain. Code Realize. Just a very good game. Again, the art style is very good. I really like the art style for Code Realize. This has an anime. The anime is good. Not as good. I recommend the game over the anime. Same with Norn 9. That also has an anime. But yeah, Code Realize, the best Otome game I played. Really enjoy it. I'd say this list might change as I play more, but for now, this is accurate. Anyway, and that is it for this video and this list. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll be back next week for another haul. I didn't appear much in this video and I'm not impressed. You can be more in the next one more. Oh, bloody so. Anyway, that is it for this video, and goodbye. Goodbye.